This is the TSG Multimedia Podcast for August of 2023. We're sponsored this month by the TSG Train Crew on Patreon. Thank you very much. I'm John, and this is the TSG Multimedia Podcast, going strong since January of 2010. July was extremely busy. As a matter of fact, it was so busy that I had to get the last podcast done before the end of last month. So this podcast includes events from late June as well as all of July, including the National Garden Railway Convention, op sessions, layout tour videos, the public debut of Caltrain's new electric commute trains, a visit from Scale Trains, and more. So let's get straight to it. I'm out in Hollister at the San Benito Southern, and we're working on the San Benito Southern Garden Railroad here. Being joined by 3 or 4 other guys out here. We're getting it ready for the National Garden Railway Convention that's happening. I think their open house is in 10 days from today. So we're just making sure to have the railroad ready for the open house. And I'll probably come back on with some updates throughout the day. I've been here since about 10 this morning. So just working. Even though garden scale equipment is heavier and makes better contact with the track, it still needs to be clean. So I'm helping scrub some of this track. As you probably know, our friend Paul from the Fern Creek and Western loves brass track, and I'm learning why right now. Okay, we just finished our lunch break here and we're getting back to work. Most of the track work and ballasting type stuff is done now, and it's already looking a lot better. So we're going to keep at it, and I'll probably come back with another update soon. All right, so this is a few hours later, and these guys are shoring up a bunch of the newly re-leveled track that they've done out on the main line here. And I just finished reglazing a building. So it's moving along, and things are looking a lot better than they did in the morning. That's for sure. This is the track work that they were working on this afternoon. This was not really level before, and they've kind of eased the grade to help prevent any derailments here, which is good, because what used to happen coming up over the bridge to the left was there was a bit of a peak on the track, and it would cause uncoupling sometimes, and not anymore. All right, so it's late enough that I can do a wrap up here. We worked pretty much all day, had a great lunch and a great dinner, and we've done some testing on the track here, and everything's working pretty well. There's a few kinks to work out, but I'd say that the day was a success. All right, we're doing something today. Came out to Santa Cruz to the Fern Creek and Western, and this was kind of an unscheduled thing. We're getting ready for the big National Garden Railway Convention that happens next week, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. And so I was helping at the San Benito Southern the day before yesterday, and heard from Paul that they needed some extra help here, or could use some extra help here. He didn't say they needed it per se, but I offered to come help. So Sydney and I are here today. I just picked up Trevor at the airport, and we're going to try to help them get some stuff ready for the convention open house next week, because it's happening a week from today. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So that's what we're doing today. Probably come back with an update later. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen here, and only a week to get it done. So I didn't know I was going to be doing chemistry experiments here today, but I'm doing some weathering on these corrugated roof shingles or strips that are going to go on a structure here. And we're using ferric chloride to start the process on these corrugated roof pieces that are going to end up on the structure. What happens is it starts to bubble, and then I put it in this basic solution to help the acid stop corroding the metal, and I put it into a wash over here, and it turns out looking like this, which looks black, but I guess that this ends up looking like weathered roof shingle or roof material eventually. It's pretty cool. I'm probably inhaling stuff that I shouldn't be inhaling doing this, but we're trying to get ready for an open house, man. So this is what those roof sections look like right after you take them out of the chemical reaction. And here's what they look like after they dry. It's a very convincing weathered corrugated roof material. So basically in this yellow tub we had this ferric chloride stuff, and then I'd mixed up a couple of buckets of water with baking soda. That's a base solution, right? So that neutralizes the acid. And then the last one is a water wash. So by the time I was done with this process, I was dunking them in here. Took a few seconds for them to start sizzling. Then I dunk them into the first base solution, and then the second base solution, and then the water. Then I put them over here to start drying. And unfortunately now I'm out of ferric chloride, so I'm gonna have to let Trevor know that there's still more to do. So we're back, got a lot done at the Fern Creek and Western. Hopefully the extra hands helped them, or will have helped them by the time the open house happens. And you know, it's ironic, by the time the open house happens, it will have been about a month ago for you watching. But, you know, there's a lot of work that has to get done for these things. Garden railroads are quite time-consuming. I'm doing something today. I'm at the Fern Creek and Western. That's the garden railroad that I've been coming to in Santa Cruz for a long time. You can see that they have it all cleaned up and all good to go. Today's July 5th, and it's their open house day for the National Garden Railway Convention that's happening in Santa Clara this year. So we're going to be open here from 10 to 3 for that open house. And it should be interesting. And it should be fun. I'm just here to help run trains. So I may come on later with some updates or something. But that's it for now. Remember, I was here late last week working on those roof pieces, the metal roof pieces. This is what they're for. It's a lumber mill industry, and the metal roof pieces that I was working on are going to be installed today on here. This is a scratch-built structure that Trevor's been working on up in Oregon, and he brought it down here last time and to get it assembled and put on the layout. It's layout's looking really good. So there it is with the roof shingle things that I was working on last week. That does look good, Trevor.
Yeah, it turned out very nice. I just got to put the little ridge cap on this part.
Uh-huh.
And then we're pretty much good to go. The other things like the boiler house and stuff that need to go up, but we will see how far we get today.
Hi, this is an example of you never know who you'll run into. This is Dave. He's the newest train crew member. Hi, Dave. Tell people who you are and where you're from.
Dave Thice out of Woodlake, California. Just joined up. Got to meet John here today, and looking forward to great things. If you're not a supporter, join. Support him. He does great work.
I second that notion. So it's about 1 or a little after 1 now, and the open house is going pretty well. The track's been a little rough today, but people seem to be enjoying the open house quite well. There are people from all over the place at the National Convention this week, so it's pretty cool. I heard some people came from as far as Arkansas, it's a long way to come out here for that from there. All right, so the open house isn't quite over, but I'm going to go home a little bit earlier. This is the time that I had allotted for today. I have a lot of editing to do at home, but the open house seemed to be very well attended. It's especially good because it was a national convention. And I actually got to see a bunch of people that I knew, which is kind of, I didn't think I would this time, but it happened, as you know. And yeah, so it was a good event, and I think that Eric would be proud of the job that these folks did to get the railroad going again for the convention. So that's it for now, and I'll check in later. I'm doing something train related today. I'm here at the San Benito Southern in Hollister. In the background you can see Kevin Hill, and way in the background you can see Curtis. And today is the open house for this part of the Bay Area Garden Railway Society's, I guess, districts. I think that's what they call them. So we're going to be here helping keep trains running on that garden layout you see behind me. And it'll be fun. And I've already started eating the donuts. I guess I wasn't helping enough by greeting people, so they put me to work adding the details to the convention car. But this is a pretty nice convention car. You can take a look at it. Came with all these detail parts, so I'm just slowly putting them on the car. All right, so it's about 1:30 now, and boy, we had a busload of people show up early on. It was really busy here for a while, and people just been kind of trickling in since then. But the railroad is running quite well. It's been really nice meeting a lot of nice people from all over the place. I believe the couple in the background, well, they have British sounding accents, so I'm guessing they're probably not from around here unless they moved from overseas. And the other people that we've seen here today from far away were all the way from Maine. There were some people that logged in or checked in from British Columbia. So you can tell it's a national convention. Anyway, so far so good. And it's just time to have some lunch now. And I believe the open house goes till 3. So we're going to be doing this for a little while longer. And I'm sure I'll check in with you before we're completely done here. The event officially ended at 3. There were still some people kind of straggling at the end there. But I think overall the event went really well. And all the work that we did here last week really paid off. So that's it for me, signing off or out from Hollister. We're doing something train related today. I'm out here at the Fern Creek and Western, where we're going to have an operating session for the National Garden Railway Convention goers. And of course, you know that this layout kind of recently became op space over the past couple of years. And so this may be one of the last op sessions that happens here. Because in case you didn't know, the owner of the house here, the property owner here, died earlier this month, or maybe it was late last month. it was recent. And so Eric is no longer with us, and the Fern Creek and Western is going to end up being torn up and stored somewhere until further notice. But I think it'll be resurrected at some point, almost certainly. Just don't know when or where. But anyway, so we're here for the op session, and I don't know that I'm even really planning to operate, but I definitely do want to help. And that's why we're here early, because the op session isn't until something like 2 o'clock this afternoon. So anyway, that's it. And I'll probably come in with some updates later on what's happening. This is the woodman and model railroading person on hand for getting ready for this. What did you learn today?
Just that it takes a while to set up an op session.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes friends to help you set it up.
Yeah. The first part of the reason we came today was to help get everything ready. And the second part was to perhaps help operators if we had enough and they needed help. The third part was if there weren't enough operators to actually operate. And so that's what I'm doing now.
I want to wait at the stations for 2
So
minutes.
here we are.
Okay, great. I've got
So Paul, what did you guys do to the layout between the last test op session that we did last year and now? What are some of the things you guys did to make it work better?
Yeah, we listened to a lot of the feedback that the operators gave us. They're all very experienced operators, so we looked to see if we had track problems, equipment problems, anything like that, scheduling issues, and in all areas there was a little something we had to fix. So, on the track side, Trevor and I reworked the yard in Fern Creek and made it a lot easier to walk around because it was really tight, narrow spaces there, which is never fun. We reworked Nolensburg, which is right above that. All the switches face the same direction, so it's a little easier to switch, and it's because we made more room in the yard down below, it's easier to walk there and access all the switches. In the front here where I'm standing now, we widened the walkway, which was a problem for many years, and it's much easier to walk through here now. On the equipment side, Trevor body mounted a whole bunch of the cars that had truck mount couplers before. They work okay when you're pulling them, but they don't work that well when you're shoving cars. So he went through and did about 10 cars, rapid speed, and they're working well right now. So schedule changes Trevor can talk about maybe, but so far I think it's operating okay, and we're looking forward to having some more fun today.
So we just finished our passenger train run basically over the entire railroad, and I'm going to go ask for our next assignment. And when I say ours, I'm working with Peter Savoy. He's the guy that was on the 2479 video, and he's been on some Niles Canyon videos. So you've seen him on the channel before. When he comes out here, we'll make sure to get a comment from him because this is his first time operating on a garden scale layout. So I picked up the second job now. We're going to do something called the Mountain Charlie job. And this is a job that runs out of Fern Creek Yard back here in the backyard. And according to our instructions, which they've really good typing up the instructions on this, which is another tip for people that want to do operations on the railroad, have good instructions. That'll make it clear for the operators what they need to do. So what we need to do is get the power, which is the main engine that's going to run the job most of the time. And what I mean by that is down here it says we have to cut in a helper. So this particular train requires a helper to get up the hill, basically is what it's saying. So we're going to cut the helper in here at the yard. And then when we get up to Nolensburg, which is in the corner over here, that's like the peak or the crest of the mountain or whatever you call it, summit. That's it. When we get there, we cut the helper out of the train and then proceed on our way to the other place we're going, which is Mountain Charlie. That's why it's called the Mountain Charlie job. So, and then we have a bunch of switching that we have to do at Mountain Charlie and then return back here to the yard. So, pretty fun. Lots of switching for this one. So it should be a lot of fun. So I mentioned a few minutes ago about Peter. This is Peter. Like I said before, you might actually recognize him from other videos that we've had on the channel. Not a whole lot of them, but
No.
been on a few.
Mostly in the background, except for the one time you actually put me in front of a camera.
He's an extra. He's usually walking around, scratching the.
Oh, yeah.
So, but this was your first time operating on a garden railroad, though.
Yes.
And I wanted to have you tell the viewers what you thought about it. Was it fun, or did you enjoy it, or any of that stuff?
Oh, yeah, of course. I had a great time. I do operations with the Niles Canyon Railroad, and of course, full-scale operations are a lot different. A lot more safety related, a lot more, everybody understands exactly what's going on at all times. And this is the first time, and, garden scale operations definitely give you a lot more variety. They let you have multiple trains with multiple operators all at the same time. At one point, I think there are at least 6 trains that are all running around each other.
Sounds about right.
I think it's a blast. It's something that you really don't get in full-size operations. So,
well, not at Niles, right? Because there's only one train typically at any time.
Yeah, well, there's only one track, which sort of limits you to only one train at a time.
Right. So, even though this is a single-track main, we have to be organized in the sense that we have to, some trains take the side outs, the side outs. I'm obviously tired now.
It has been a full day of operation.
Yeah, some people take the turnouts to go on the sidings.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to think of, yeah. So, but I'm glad you came, though. I wasn't expecting... This was actually you never know who you'll run into, because I wasn't expecting to see you here today.
Yeah, no. And, it's one of those things where Pacific Locomotive Association went out to the narrow gauge convention, the Garden Railroad Convention in Santa Clara. And Trevor invited me out and said, this is a great place to come and see people. And sure enough, found John. I thought,
yeah, you didn't tell him I was going to be here. Also, he wouldn't have come. All right, so we wrapped up there at the Fern Creek and Western for today. And the fun thing is, I'll be back on here tomorrow talking to you about going back to the Fern Creek and Western tomorrow, because we're going to go film a layout tour there tomorrow. So that's it for now. We'll talk to you then. All right, so as planned, we're back at the Fern Creek and Western today to make what is probably going to be the final documentation of a layout tour here. And so we had this planned anyway to come here and do this today, but it's a little bit more, impactful to me, because knowing that this is the last iteration of the Fern Creek and Western, because it'll most likely be torn up and gone within 6 months or a year. It's completely gone. The only possibility that it won't be is if someone who wants a garden railroad ends up buying this property. So anyway, we're here to document that today, and it'll come out on the channel in a few months. I've kind of been looking forward to this, but under better circumstances, we'll put it that way. So here we are. It's a little bit later, and we're still in the process of filming the layout tour video of the Fern Creek and Western. I think we're a bit more than halfway done now, and it's going really well. This is going to be a really good layout tour, because we have something like 6 cameras here today, getting a lot of different angles, and it helps to know the layout, for me to know the layout, because I know kind of what people can talk about or might have ideas about that. And I also know angles to use, because I've been here so much and seen so many different angles over the years. So, just going good. Okay, well, if I look tired, you know the reason. We've been here for a good 12 hours now, and boy, I tell you, the amount of footage we got, the shots we got, these guys all helped with the shots and the camera work, so this is going to be a really special layout tour, and one of the last few times I'll see this layout, because like I said before, it's going to be going away. But that's it for now, and I'll check in with you some other time when something else is happening, which won't be too long from now. Hello there. We're doing something today, train related, that is. The last time I was in this parking space talking to you from here, it was pouring rain. And I don't expect you to know what that means, but to me it means we're at Ted Stevens, Ohio and Little Kanahwa Model Railroad. This is an HO scale railroad based in the East Coast, or the Eastern US, I should say. And it's a really beautiful layout that's also fun to operate. So it's an op session today. And I'll probably come on from inside the layout at some point to show you like I did last time. So let's go have some fun with this guy. So this is what I was talking about. This is on the layout. And you might recall, if you want to find it, you can look online right here on the channel for Ohio and Little Kanahwa, or just search for Ted Stevens. It's STEPHENS. You'll find a full layout video of this layout that has just exquisite details, and it's also real fun to operate. So we're taking something called the Grafton Local West. And we did this job last time we were here, and I'm going to be the conductor. Sydney's going to be the engineer for this. So this is your gratuitous women in model railroading shot. You're supposed to look happy at the camera.
Oh, definitely.
All right, so we're just wrapping up here at Ted Stevens Layout. Had a great time again. Big thanks to Ted and Earl and Paul and everybody that makes the layout go. We even had our special women in model railroading person do some jobs all on her own.
I did for the first time.
Oh, that was the first?
Yeah, I did a job on my own, and Bob brought his wife Terry, and so they were running a couple jobs together, and Seth, who was dispatching's wife, came by for a visit.
That was Lori. Yeah.
And that was nice. And Earl's wife, Anna, came by. So
it was like couples day at Ted's layout.
It was. So thanks to Earl, I think he might have negotiated all that, trying to get everybody there. So good time.
Earl made it all happen. We talked about doing this at the PCR convention a couple months ago. So we got to do it now. It was a great time. Had a great job or two. We did a job together, and then I did one by myself, and then our top secret operator did one by herself. Lots of fun. So thanks, Ted. Thanks, Earl. Thanks, Paul. And we'll see you on the next update. Hi, so it's not in the morning, but we are doing something today. I'm standing in the Santa Susana Depot, which is a place I visited last year during SoCal Ops. Came down here for operating invitational. And you'll recall I did a video about that with John Wiley. That was a Wiley's Wanderings. So this building you see behind me is a model of the exact depot that I'm standing in. And we're shooting a layout tour here today. And then we're going to be down here in Southern California for most of this week doing layout videos. So that's what we're doing today, and I'll probably have an update for you again later. Hi, so we're just wrapping up at Santa Susana Depot right now. We've probably shot about half of what we need to shoot here, or close to half, so we're going to be back tomorrow morning and do the rest of it. And it's a really cool layout. If you're around Santa Susana area and you have a chance to come in here, this is a really cool place to visit. Out front, we just noticed this. It has this huge Southern Pacific logo in the bricks, and just everything here is just really well maintained. It's just a great place. So that's it for now. I usually don't get this self-indulgent on the podcast. Pardon the wind noise, but one of the reasons I wanted to come back to Simi Valley again after having been here last year for the SoCal Ops was because I was born in Simi Valley, and the house you see behind me is where I lived until I was about 5 years old. And it's kind of cool to come back and see something from so long ago. We're talking almost 50 years ago that I lived here. And that was the house. So if you've been watching the channel and you've seen pictures of me as a little tiny kid holding a big train, which probably wasn't that big, but I was small, so it looked big. That's where it happened, in the kitchen in that house. Also, the birthday cake with the train buzzing around when I was 2 years old happened in that house on a high chair. So that's kind of where it all started for me. It's kind of weird to be here, to be honest. And the dog's barking at me because it doesn't know I lived there before it did. Anyway, that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Hi, it's me again, and I'm back at the Santa Susana Depot today. We're finishing up our shots for the layout tour video that we're doing here. And I was just standing here thinking, oh, I forgot to do a podcast video. So here it is, the obligatory podcast video for out doing train stuff. Oh boy, this is a really nice layout, and we're having a lot of fun with these guys out here. So I can't wait to share this one with you. It'll be a while, but it'll be worth it. This is a segment of you never know who you're going to run into. Now, I didn't know I was going to run into this guy, but he has a really neat story that I thought was worth sharing with you on the podcast. This is Toby, and I'm still at Santa Susana recording the layout tour, but he came up to me and said, hey, I have your videos, and showed me a car on his train that looks kind of familiar because it was inspired by something on the video. So why don't you tell the viewers who you are and what happened?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I'm Tobias Vincent with the Santa Susana Railroad Club here, and I've been a member for quite some time. And yes, as John mentioned, during the time I wanted to take the hobby to the next level. I wanted my stuff to look real. I knew nothing how to do that. Weathering, that was brand new to me. Trying to find information out there, where to weather, different techniques, the terminology, I was lost. Doing the research on the internet, I come across a TSG video on weathering.
Yeah, imagine that.
And it caught my eye. And the one thing that caught my eye, my favorite railroad is Southern Pacific. So on the cover of the video, was this car right here, Southern Pacific. And I said, wow. And it looked phenomenal. I had to order the video. I did. Followed it step by step. And I think it turned out okay.
It turned out pretty good.
So, and I was able at that point take my hobby to the next level by not just running brand new cars out of the box, but actually having real prototypical looking cars. Thanks to these guys here at TSG who took the video to the next level to help guys like me to learn something.
Thanks, TSG. Yeah, sorry. Hi, this is one of those times where you don't really know who you're going to run into, but you think you might, but you're not sure, and then you end up running into him. This is Jim Carrey. Not that one. This is this Jim Carrey. I know Jim really only from Facebook so far, and for those of you who watch the channel and are really into the work that I do, you know that I have a second channel called TSG Channel 2, which I do nature videos and day trips and stuff like that, and that's something that we share. Jim's an avid hiker. I'm an avid hiker. I guess you could call it that. And so Jim has something called Hiking Alone Together that I think this will be a great time if you want to tell people about that and tell people about it.
I do like to hike alone together. I like to hike alone to get out here. It's my therapy. So I started the page just to put information out there about people that like to hike, and especially the ones that like to hike in solitary. Yeah, so we're out in one of my favorite places out here in the national park. It's called Santa Monica Mountains National Park. This area is called Satwewa, which is the Chumash word for bluffs, and there's a beautiful bluff. We'll probably see some of that later. We're going to take a hike out to see my second passion, and that's bees. He has trains, I have bees, so we're going to try to figure out a way to get the bees on the train.
Jim's known as the bee guy around here, and maybe we'll show something about that. But
Sarcastically sometimes.
yeah, but actually, that's another I think, really interesting, the work that you've done documenting the bees.
Yeah.
You talk about that a minute, because I think that's really cool. He does really cool up-close video work.
Yeah.
Documenting what are they, native ground bees?
They're
or something
native
like
bees that nest in the ground. And like many people, I'd only heard of honeybees until I discovered these ground nesting bees right out on that trail. In fact, just a half a mile down that trail, coming back from an evening hike, passed some ground nesting bees and said, what the heck?
Yeah, what's going on here,
Honeybees on the ground, and went home and Googled it and started my obsession. That was in 2016, and I'm locked into it now.
And I've been following it the whole time, so I must be a little bit crazy too.
So I'm a retired filmmaker, been in all kinds of different aspects in the film and video business, including video games. But now I just make films with iPhones, and I started documenting the bees out here. And you get down on your hands and knees with an iPhone, get in real close, you can get some pretty cool shots.
Let's go see the bees.
Let's see the bees.
So you're thinking to yourself, why is this guy talking about hiking on a train channel? And when I see something like this, I feel like there's no explanation needed. This is one of the areas that Jim marked off for the ground nesting bees. And it's just so people don't trample it. If you're ever out in a park someplace or taking a hike and you see something like this, don't walk in it. Thank you.
Rains are going. There's waterfalls there.
Hi, so we're doing something train related today. It's mid-morning now, and we came out here a little bit earlier back to the Santa Susana Depot. And instead of working on the train layout, today we're working on the museum side. So the train layout is in the freight house, or the old freight house, and the museum, the whole rest of the depot that's to the west of that, is all filled with an amazing amount and variety of artifacts and relics from the Southern Pacific and local history. And we're here with Kurt, whom I'll introduce you to in a minute, and just going through and giving people an idea so you can see what's here and pique your interest to come visit. This is Marcia Appleton, my new friend, and she's been waiting here for a long time because her husband is buying a ticket at the ticket window from a really nice looking mannequin, and I think she's getting a little mad. All right, so I'm here with Kurt. This is the guy I told you I'd introduce you to in a minute. We were here in the Santa Susana Depot all morning, and Kurt is a docent here at the museum. So as I was saying before, the model railroad layout is in the freight house, and then there's a full museum on the other side, which is basically in the depot proper, is what I would call it, or the station, right, the passenger station. And not only do they have a lot of really cool artifacts in the station agent's office, which we're standing in now, but there's also a whole sort of, I guess, replication of the living quarters upstairs. And Kurt gave us a first-class tour of all of it. Kurt, if you had 20 seconds or 30 seconds to get in front of 60,000 subscribers, what would you tell them about this facility here?
All in all, it just represents a huge chapter in history. We all recognize how important railroads were back in those glory years. But when you get to a certain neighborhood, you get a chance to talk about the local history. That's what this place represents, Santa Susana.
Anyway, so that will be on a video coming to you pretty soon. Thank you very much, Kurt, for
Had a lot of
time.
fun. Yeah. A lot of fun.
All right. Well, we had a great time over at the Santa Susana Depot for the past few days, and especially this morning looking at the museum and talking with Kurt. And since we're in Southern California, I thought I'd stop real quick and look at the other house that I lived at when I was a little kid. This is it right here in Westlake Village. And I have really great memories of living here. And sometimes I wonder why we moved, because these are great places where we lived. But that's my last self-indulgence for today. Hi, we're doing something train related today. I'm at Gary Siegel's L&N layout. It's a fairly well-known layout in the Santa Barbara area. We drove up to this area yesterday, and we're filming a layout tour here today. And this is another really well-done layout, beautiful scenery, great op scheme. This is one that I'd like to come back down here and operate on sometime. But that's what we're doing today, and I may come back later with a update. Okay, so it's almost 5 o'clock now, and we're just finished up at Gary's, and boy, what a great layout. Gary seems like a great guy, and thanks to this guy for making it all happen. That's Bruce. Say hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, I did something train related today. You can hear this Caltrain that's stopped here behind me, and it's been stopped here for about the last, I think I got here 2 or 3 hours ago. I'm at the SBHRS in Santa Clara. We had our members meeting today, and apparently this train was here when I got here, and there were fire trucks all over the place. Now there's sheriff cars all over the place, and apparently there was a pedestrian strike here this morning. Not here at the station, but this is where they stopped when they went into emergency. So just a reminder for people to be safe out there. You don't want to be hit by one of these machines because they can't stop and you don't survive it. So please be careful out there. Stay away from tracks. On July 26th, we went live with July's episode of Talking Trains. Because of the jam-packed calendar in July, it was a week later than usual, coming on the 4th Wednesday instead of on the 3rd. In this show, I was joined by special guest co-host Jennifer Howell to talk with Nick Valdez about the Royal Gorge Route Railroad. Before we got started with Nick, I had a great discussion with Jennifer about her own photography. She does great photos of wildlife and, you guessed it, trains. Nick talked about his railroad career and how he's come to be the operations superintendent at Royal Gorge. It was a great episode that you should definitely check out on the replay if you missed it live. And I want to thank Jen and Nick for a great show. This month we'll be back on the 3rd Wednesday, which is the 16th. James Regier will be our special co-host, and we'll be talking to Bernard Helen of Mini Prints about his recent trip to the St. Louis Railroad Prototype Modelers Meet. Join us here if you can. It should be a great one. Hi, this is Saturday, late July. I think it's the 29th or 30th. Not even sure at this point. Been so busy this month. But today I'm going to do something train related. Caltrain, that's our local commute service, has new EMUs. Those are electric multiple units. And these were made in Utah by a company called Stadler. And if you remember, or if you've been watching the channel, you know that I went to a Stadler open house about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And I commented and showed you these EMUs being built in Utah. And that's on a Chasing Trains episode when I was there in Utah for the 150th anniversary of the Golden Spike. You can look that up if you want. But I'm going to see those today. And I'm also tabling for the SBHRS. So it's just part of the volunteer work that I do. I try to volunteer as much as I can for the SBHRS. That's the South Bay Historical Railroad Society, because I believe in the mission there and believe in preserving the history that they preserve. So I'm going to be tabling with my friend Robin. That's what I've been told anyway. So that's today, and I'll probably come up with some updates from the event as they happen. I'm in line waiting to see the train, and there's a huge crowd here. I'm guessing still in the high hundreds, maybe 1,000 people already. But there's a stage over here where people are talking, and they just got done telling the crowd here that they had 4,000 people sign up to try to see these electric trains. And they were talking about that's a measure of success, and it is. It just goes to show that people are very much interested in this kind of advancement in their transportation infrastructure.
But on a singular enable kind of economic development of the road. We will continue to make our region. Also, just wrap up by thanking our executive director, Michelle Bouchard, who has great vision, great energy.
Hi there. It's a bit later and we're still in line here, but we got our group number and we'll be checking out this train here sometime soon.
It's going to be quicker, faster, better, cleaner. Going to get you where you want to be.
So here we are. This is what we've been wanting to see.
The station areas?
I think they only have 2 of these sets so far.
Guy behind you in the green hat walking that way. Please not take it yet.
Corridor that's down there when they build the high-speed rail stations. That's going to be. I'm not sure how many.
Okay, so we're inside now and trying out the seats, and yeah, it feels pretty comfortable. So one of the things that these new trains have on them is these work areas. It's a table with seats, and then the forward-facing seats have outlets for power, which is pretty cool. It's an upgrade from what we have currently. And then, of course, there's restrooms as well. It's actually a really spacious restroom. And then space for bikes. Okay, so we just got out of the train, and boy, that was really worth it. It's nice to see somewhere, coming into the present with their rail infrastructure, and I'm really excited and happy to live in a place where that's happening. And I thought I'd do this little video right now inside our station here so you can see what it looks like. This is our main Amtrak station here in San Jose. It's called Diridon Station. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I'll be doing some volunteering here today. This is the table for the SBHRS, and I'm going to be volunteering for the next 2 hours to talk to people about the SBHRS here at this event, which, by the way, is a really big event. There's definitely thousands of people here now. So that's what we'll be doing. And I probably will come on at the end with a little update. Or who knows, maybe we'll have you never know who you'll run into. Oh, here's someone that you never know who you'll run into.
How you doing?
It's Jack from the SBHRS.
Yes.
What do you think of this event, Jack?
I think it's great.
Yeah?
Fantastic. And you see where you got the camera pointed right at our booth there.
Yeah.
Our November show.
Oh, our November show. What's happening in November? Maybe you should tell.
November 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th? Yeah, 4th and 5th.
It's the first weekend of November.
First weekend of November is our semi-annual train show where we have multiple trains running, and we have the company store in there for everybody to go check out.
Yeah, buy stuff.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that's really cool about our open houses is that everything's open. The private car's open.
Yes.
The tower is open.
Yes.
The layouts are open. The library's open.
Yes. Everything's there.
That's why it's called an open house.
Yes. Okay, John.
All right. Okay, so it's about 2:05, something like that. and this event is officially over. I'm really encouraged that I heard someone say there was something like 5,000 people here today or more, which is really cool. It just goes to show that people are excited about the Caltrain electrification project. So that's it for now. Signing out. Hi, so we're doing something train related today. I'm actually standing in the Santa Clara Interlocking Tower. And this is a segment of You Never Know Who You'll Run Into, because I didn't know this guy was going to be here till yesterday. This is TSG train crew Robert Darby, all the way down from Napa. So what we're doing here today is Caltrain is in town for their West Coast tour that they're doing. They're going around all the train clubs and, people who buy their stuff and doing a little presentation. And I was asked to make a video of it, which will come out sometime after the tour is completely over. But I'm here to record that, and Robert contacted me yesterday saying, hey, I'm going to be down there tomorrow, so let's do something. So we came down here a little bit early to look at the interlocking tower, which you've never been in, have you?
Oh, I have not.
Yeah, so what do you think of this place?
That's cool. It's interesting. A lot of history and just marvel at it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So that's what we're doing today. I'll probably come back with an update later.
To August, shuttle service between platforms at Bayshore
So it's still before the event. Shane company showed up here a little while ago, and they're setting up their stuff in the background. And if you look around the room, you'll see I have a few cameras set up here because we're going to record this, as I said before, and we'll do a little release of this event after the tour is over. So the excitement's starting to build. A lot more people are showing up. You can hear there's people talking in the background. So should be good. Hi, this is one of these times when I knew who I was going to run into, and he's right here. This is Shane from Caltrain, and Shane's like the main event here tonight. So, but you're on a whirlwind tour of the entire country, really, aren't you? That's really what this is all about, huh?
Yeah, so we're on a 50-state road trip. Of course, 2 of those we're not going to drive to, but this idea was hatched in 2020. We always talked about getting out on the road and meeting folks where they are. And when COVID happened, of course, it freed up a lot of marketing dollars. So we bought a big pickup truck and a 5th-wheel RV, and we hit the road. And by the end of this trip, we'll have just about 100 dates in the bag in about half the states. And so still have pretty much everything east of the Mississippi still to do, and north of the Mason-Dixon line. So a lot of driving yet. We put in about a little over 50,000 miles so far. And, at a meet and greet, though, what the great part about it is it's a chance for us to meet folks one-on-one, have that personal time, get to know people. We share our story, how we got started. It's nothing short of a miracle. We show how model trains are made, so you get an inside look at the research process, design, tooling, manufacturing. We share what's going on at Caltrain. And the biggest thing is this isn't a Caltrain infomercial. We're not going to, pitch all the products that are sitting out. We do have a big display, but it's not like buy me. This is a chance for all of us to get to know each other. And for us, this has been huge. I liken it to throwing a rock in a pond. The average meet and greet, we're seeing about 25 to 40 people. And I know they're telling somebody and they're telling somebody, so it helps grow the pie. And then we're also, the connections we're making are unbelievable, whether that's with the real railroads, with getting collections of data that we need, pictures, photographs, paint lettering diagrams, builders drawings, all that kind of stuff, even access to the real trains. So road trip's been way more successful than our wildest dreams. It's been a lot of fun. And it's great to come out and meet folks like yourself, see folks like you on the road.
Yeah, I think that this event is coming to a club or place near you. I think it's worth coming out to just by, I know you guys, they don't do anything small. So,
the other thing too, when you come out, we have a gift bag for everybody that comes. Inside the bag is an exclusive road trip pin you can only get in the bag. There's offers from our partners. There's some things from us. We have a lot of other giveaway items. We always do a drawing as well. We give away hats and shirts. I think this trip we've got tumblers. In the past we've had koozies, and we added $25 gift cards too. So
$25 gift cards. I'd say that alone's worth coming out to the show. So yeah, so look for the Scale Trains Traveling Road Show near you. There's an actual name for it though. It's the
road trip, and the way to find out where we're going is to go to our website, which is just scaletrains.com. Right up in the header it says road trip. Click on that, it'll show you the dates that are upcoming. And if you see that your state doesn't have any dots on it, that means we're coming there. And if you'd like us to come see your club, be sure to fill out the form that's on that page and invite us.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight and recording everything for us too.
Excellent. All right, so the event is over. It was a very worthwhile event. I actually learned quite a bit about scale trains that I didn't know. And I didn't realize how good of a presenter Shane is. It was a very entertaining and informative presentation. When this comes to your hometown, make sure you go to it. I think you'll be happy you did. But as you can see, we're cleaning up here, and I'm going to go help finish wrapping things up. And yeah, really excited and happy that I came.
And now for the catches of the month. Our only catch of the month comes from me. It's a Union Pacific freight train going past the Santa Susana Depot. This shot was taken from a drone that Goofy Gary was nice enough to allow me to borrow for my trip. Thanks, Gary. The monthly model catch also comes from me this month. It's a long log train double-headed by two shays, taken on the San Benito Southern during the National Garden Railway Convention open house last month. I think this qualifies as something you don't see every day. If you have train or monthly model catches that you'd like to share, please email them to podcast@tsgmultimedia.com. Be sure you own the shots and let me know the what's, whens, and wheres of the shots you send in. August looks pretty calm right now, but I have a bad habit of saying yes to everything that comes along. Right now, I have another layout tour video I'm shooting for sure, as well as an update from the Niles Canyon Railway, where they're going to be using the Ring of Fire to put new tires on 1744's drivers. That's a big project that I've been documenting over the past couple years. You can check out the most recent episode by clicking on the link that just popped up on the right side of the screen. The link is also in the video description below this video if you're watching on a computer or tablet. I need to take a second to thank Goofy Gary and Warren Johnson for sharing their photos with us. Warren shares directly to the Facebook page as TSG Multimedia, and you can tell when he posts because he always mentions that the photo or photos being shared are by Warren Johnson. I realize that might be a little confusing because his posts say things like, on my layout, and the only other person who posts to the page is me. And most of you know I don't have a personal layout. So if you see one that Warren got credited on, he also posted it. Gary's shots are shared directly from his Facebook page to the TSG Facebook page by me. I also share photos from another Facebook friend of mine named Marty Bernard, who has an amazing collection and shares photos to his Facebook page publicly so they can be shared to other places like our TSG Facebook page. Did you know there's a Fans of Talking Trains page on Facebook as well? You can find it using the link in the description below or simply by searching for it on Facebook. It's more of a community group where all of us can share stuff with each other very easily. I hope you'll join the community on there and share your related photos and stories with us. So one last thing before I go. I'd like to ask you to add your support to our efforts here by joining the TSG Train Crew on Patreon. Your support helps us get out to the places and events that we share with you on the channel. TSG Train Crew members get early access to all the features that come out on the channel, as well as exclusive content that no one else gets to see. And the best part is that it's as cheap as $2 a month. So if you can help, go to patreon.com/TSG Multimedia and add your support to our efforts. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.